I don't know too much, but Mashiach is going to be a king, right? Messiah will be a king over Israel, over the whole world. Besides that, what do we mean by Mashiach? He's going to elevate the people. The king, what's the job of a king? It's to elevate the people. Is it? Or is the job of the king just to represent the people? We have this idea, we have this thing, this concept. Mashiach is going to elevate us, make us come back into Teshuvah, right? Build a temple. Sounds more like a political man, right? We know there's going to be Ben David and Ben Yosef. I think Ben Yosef is the one who's going to go fight the wars. Ben David is going to be the ruler. Ben Yosef is going to fall in battle, right? Why do people think, let's say, for example, the Rebbe of Chabad Lubavitch is Mashiach? He didn't build a Sanhedrin or a Beis HaMikdash. He didn't fight physical wars. I don't know. So what's Mashiach going to do and who's it going to be? I'll tell you this much. I don't really care who he is. I know that Elijah the prophet is going to come and tell us who he is. I remember hearing this week, I don't remember where, came across it somewhere. There's going to be like five messengers before Elijah. We're not going to believe them. And then Elijah will come and we'll believe Elijah. So we're not going to have any doubts of who's Mashiach and who's not. So any hype in regards to the identity of Mashiach, I don't really think it matters. I'm saying, in my opinion, someone who thinks the Chabad Rebbe is Mashiach is not following them. He's not following the Rebbe, the Rebbe of Lubavitch, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson. They're not following him because they think he's Mashiach. Even if no one ever thought he was Mashiach, they would still be a student of his. Why? For whatever reasons they think he's Mashiach, that's enough to validate that they should follow him as a leader and that he should be the Rebbe, no? I mean, why did they think he's Mashiach? For those reasons, that's enough to make the guy your rabbi. If it's enough to make him your Mashiach, it's enough to make him your rabbi, right? So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if he's Mashiach or not. He's your rabbi if he's your rabbi, right? Well, I guess what I'm just trying to say is, what difference does it make who's Mashiach? When Hashem is ready to bring us a Mashiach, we'll know exactly who it is. And I'm not going to fight. I don't think any of you will fight the Mashiach. Who's going to fight the Mashiach? Gog Umagog and what's his name? I forget the other guy. Armilus, right? Armilus. So, none of us are going to fight the Mashiach when Hashem chooses to bring us our redemption. So I don't get all this hype around about identity of Mashiach. Who really cares? If you find someone to be worthy of being your manhig, manhig means like a leader, right? Like modern Hebrew, noheg is a driver, nahag is a driver. So manhig is the one who drives, he's the one who's leading. Or mashpia is like influencer. If you find someone worthy to be that, who cares if he's Mashiach or not Mashiach? And if someone else has someone that to them is their Mashiach, because they're doing what Mashiach is going to do in their eyes, what does it make a difference to you that they're calling them Mashiach instead of Rebbe, or instead of Rabbi, or instead of teacher, or instead of anything else? What difference does it make to you the title that someone else gives to their mashpia, their influencer? What do you care? So, some people will say, well, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. Like, we've had instances like Shabtai Tzvi and Frank and other characters who led people astray. And my response to that is, well, those people that led Jews astray and Gentiles astray under the guise of Mashiach, even if they didn't call themselves Mashiach, they still led people astray. It's not that they called themselves Mashiach that we're pissed. We're pissed that they led people astray. So the point here would be, don't lead people astray. and guard yourself from being led astray. But the title Mashiach is not the issue. Anyone who's going to point fingers and say, oh, well, you're potentially leading Jews or non-Jews astray with this title of Mashiach, that's not true. Mashiach is not misleading. If the guy's Mashiach or not doesn't really matter. What matters is he going to lead people astray? Is he leading people astray? So if he's leading people astray, so find issues there and fix them. But the title really shouldn't make a difference. It doesn't matter if you have a cult leader. Let's say Shabtai Tzvi led a cult. I don't know. I don't really know too much about Shabtai Tzvi. It's very shrouded in mystery. They don't really teach us about it too much. Other than that he was a bad guy who led people astray and then eventually converted to Islam. That's what I know, right? That's what I was taught. But the issue is not that he called himself Mashiach or other people called him Mashiach. It's not the issue that anyone had with him. The issue was that he led Jews astray, right? And non-Jews astray. The one potential problem of calling someone Mashiach is that what? Now more people, meaning if the guy is definitely leading people astray, calling him Mashiach could elevate him, and people who don't really know too much, they just know that we're waiting for Mashiach, they might jump on the bandwagon only because of the Mashiach aspect. Meaning maybe if you never called him Mashiach, no one would jump on the bandwagon. So I could say that could be a potential issue. You're calling someone Mashiach, what's the only potential issue I can see with that is that people that wouldn't have jumped on the bandwagon are now jumping on the bandwagon because they know we're waiting for this Mashiach, and they say, oh, if so-and-so says it's Mashiach, so I also want to say it's Mashiach. And now they're on the bandwagon too. But I think that's kind of silly, because if someone's that shallow, that they're going to jump on a bandwagon only because someone else gave this person the title Mashiach, then they would have jumped on the bandwagon anyway. Meaning, I don't really think that the final straw, like someone's sitting there and they're like, I'm not sure if so-and-so should be my teacher or my leader or my influencer or anything like that in spiritual matters. But now that so-and-so called this person Mashiach, oh, now I'm all in. I don't really buy that. I don't believe it. So I don't think there's an issue with calling anyone Mashiach. I think there's a potential issue in being led astray with anyone. And that's why I don't have a Rebbe. I don't have a rabbi. Because I've been led astray. I have regrets of times when I listened to my rabbis, quote unquote. And maybe what he was saying was completely true, but for me it wasn't. I don't feel right. I think that ideally, the relationship between a teacher and his student, a rabbi and his pupil, should be like that of the prophets and the students of the prophets. They had a relationship like Joshua and Moses, like the moon and the sun. There was complete submission. And I think ultimately, yes, that is the goal, to have complete submission to your teacher. And that's the best way that he can give you over what he needs to give you over, and you can receive what you need to receive. I just think today it's very dangerous, which is why I don't have a rabbi. I don't think there's someone alive today that I would trust in such a situation. I did. I was very naive at a certain point. I had a complete submission to a certain rabbi. And I think he's a great guy, but I think it really just ended up hurting me. You know, putting my faith in such a person. Maybe that's my own fault. You don't put faith in a person, you put your faith in Hashem. But somewhere there is room to say that we are supposed to have complete submission to our teachers. Like Moses and Joshua. Joshua was completely submissive, like the moon, only reflecting the sun. So again, just a quick recap, because I'm just a little scattered here. I don't see any potential issues with calling someone Mashiach. I really don't. Just like we say tzaddik. I don't know if you ever call your friends tzaddik, but it's pretty common where I come from. We call your friend tzaddik. What are you saying? That the guy's a tzaddik as defined by the Tanya? Definitely not. There's probably no one that we know of today that can actually be called by the level of tzaddik as described in the Tanya. We're all bainim, intermediates. Sorry. I'm not saying that your favorite rabbi is not a tzaddik. I'm not trying to point fingers at anyone. If you read what a tzaddik does, I'm saying even a Beinani never actually sins. If he sins in that moment, he's considered a rasha, wicked, you know? So to say that someone's a tzaddik, and he's been a tzaddik, and he's always going to be a tzaddik, I'm just saying I don't buy it. Someone today in our generation, I don't buy it. I don't know anyone like that. So again, when we call someone a tzaddik, is there an issue with that? Do we mean that he's tzaddik as defined by the Tanya? No, I don't think so. I think we just mean like tzaddik, you know, Hayid, Hay tzaddik. So What if I do that to all my friends and I say, Mashiach, hey Mashiach, what's up? And I do that. If you know me for a little bit, I probably have at least once addressed you as Mashiach. And I don't think that's an issue. And if someone believes more than that, they're not just saying Mashiach as a thing, but they actually believe that such and such person is actually Mashiach who's going to be the king of Israel in the world, I don't see an issue with that either. The only issue I see with is being potentially led astray by some cult or some false teachings. But that has nothing to do with the title Mashiach given to the cult leader. If you believe that you're in a cult, it doesn't matter if the guy calls himself Mashiach or if he calls himself king or if he calls himself vampire. Who cares what he calls himself? The issue is not his title. The issue is what he's doing, that he's leading people astray. And if he's not leading people astray, again, it's not better or worse if he calls himself Mashiach. That's not relevant, what he calls himself or what people call him. Make sense? So what does it matter who's Mashiach? It really doesn't. We'll know when we know. We'll see the guy sitting on a throne in Jerusalem, you know what I mean? And I don't think there's any issues with calling any specific person Mashiach or believing even deeply that any specific person is the real ultimate Mashiach. Just, if you want to guard yourself, so don't be led astray. Make sure the things you're being told make sense to you. Don't submit yourself, in my opinion, to anyone. Even though I mentioned that really we want to submit ourselves to our teachers, I just think that today it's dangerous. I don't think we really have perfect individuals that we can actually submit ourselves to. So that's why I don't have a rabbi. I have relationships with people that I study from, and I do consider to be my teachers, but I call it a Talmud Chaver, which is a term that means like student-friend. It's different than a rabbi-student relationship. It's a student-friend relationship. And like I said earlier, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, he's not your Rebbe because you think he's a Mashiach. He's your Rebbe. If he's your Rebbe, he's your Rebbe just because you think he's worthy of being your Rebbe. So what difference does it make him Mashiach or not? If it helps you in life to believe that he's Mashiach, okay, gesundheit, as they say, who cares? So believe he's Mashiach or don't believe he's Mashiach. You're not going to go to hell either way. There's no mitzvah to believe anyone's Mashiach, even if they tell you so, and even if they're great and righteous. There's no mitzvah you have to believe anyone. So I'm not here to tell you who's Mashiach and who's not Mashiach. I'm here to tell you that it doesn't really matter. I don't get any hype related to this issue. I just don't get the hype. I think it's misplaced.